Hello again everyone, hope you guys are doing well. So today, in line with the Plane of Winter Forge Guard, I bring you the Volcanus Forge Guard. Yes, we're just jumping around, messing with Forge Guard builds I've meant to mess with since last season, and well, this time was Volcanus. So, this build, well, not particularly good. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's not like boxed or anything. It does have a few interesting things that I'll probably try to mess around with a bit more in the future. Which is the Sigeon interaction. The shield that is, whenever you block, there's a chance you throw out a shield throw. With with Volcanus, Lava Burst actually starts doing a ton of damage. So this build actually works quite well, just walking around and letting things hit you, and then having a shield throw function. I guess you can probably do an interesting reflect field based on this idea. That's something I might try in the future, who knows. Either way, the logic was using Multistrike with it, to proc Smites obviously, and then having Forge Strike and Shield Throw to buff up our damage. Because Shield Throw gives us Frenzy and Fire Penetration, while Forge Strike gives us more global damage and global Fire Penetration. Then we have Sigils for the extra flat and the block chance, mostly for the block chance. The extra damage is also nice, but it is there mostly for the block chance. And well, this is how it plays. You can bank on Shield Throw to help you with clear, and Forge Strike, because it still does a decent amount of damage, even if we're not really focused on it. We do have some damage on it since we have fire. We're stacking fire damage instead of attunement, although we do want to stack a bit of attunement as well. That would be the ideal, attunement and fire damage. And then having phantom grips and such to help us crit. But yeah, just showing you an echo at 300 and something corruption, so you guys can see what the build is about. And as you can see, the shield throw does decent damage just by itself. Even without being buffed at all. And we can still buff it. It's mostly that Lava Burst doing the damage because we do have the max multiplier on it, and we do have a decent amount of spell damage with the Volcanus. We also have an absurd amount of life steal due to Volcanus and the amulet we're using for the fire crit chance. I don't think we are yet fully crit capped, but we are close to it. Anyhow, it's the build. Oh yeah, and the swords explode when they die for a bit of damage here and there. And that's that. And well, I forgot to mention Smite. Smite gets proc through Multistrike, so it is the build essentially. So when it comes to the skills, let's go over them one by one. So Forge Strike, we are essentially using Forge Strike as a way to buff our damage with global fire penetration and more global damage. These are the most important nodes. Making it ranged is useful, also Armor Shred, but mostly because Armor Shred is nice, but the reason we want it is the Eagle Strike, because it helps with clearing on echoes, and when we need to move away from bosses or for some reason. Then here more hit, Stun Chance gives it more increased damage over time, because why not? You can also shift this point into fire damage, also works. Then we go for the detonating round, just because it has a second hit, and because we do have some ignite penetration, fire damage, so we are causing a few ignites. Why not just get a couple extra ignites in there? It's not the main focus of our damage, but it's still free damage, so why not? It helps, like when you are moving around, things will end up croaking because they had some ignites on them. It's not too bad. And here we just went and grabbed the a chance to summon forged weapons and shrapnel because, well, they will explode and do some damage. It's nothing all that amazing, but it's still a bit of damage. While leveling and in echoes, they still do something. But if you want to spec completely out of it and use it more as a, and go for more damage with this, and say going singular craft and spear forge, also a good idea. Up to you. I just wanted to have the weapons exploding. Still isn't doing as much damage as I would like because it scales off intelligence, unfortunately. We do have a lot of increased fire damage, so it does a little bit, but nothing amazing. Half of the lava burst almost, as you can see. Anywho, let's move on to Multistrike. So, Multistrike. If you start with Multistrike and if you use this build for leveling, I would say start with grab Multistrike as soon as you can, and then prioritize getting Blaze Storm so you can start proccing Smite first, because it will allow you to do multiple hits on a single target, and after that go for the Smite conversion, because then you can start auto smiting from the get-go, even on single targets. This is really important, I feel like. After that, we go for attack speed and the perfect seal. This you can leave for later because when you can equip Volcanus, then it will be up to you if you want to use shield and if you want to prioritize using the sword. I would suggest the shield because Sigeon is really good to help you with wave clear, like I said, because of the chance of you auto throwing shield throw, especially because we do have siege breaker on it. So I would suggest leaving this for later, when you can actually equip the Volcanus and the shield throw at the same, and have the shield at the same time. Then here it will be good so you can have enough mana to sustain the cost of Forge Strike and shield throw. So this is why you want Blader's Focus. Here, just whenever you block, there's a chance you throw out a Smite, essentially, because the swords are converted to Smites. And then the remaining points, you can put them here for a bit more damage. If you prefer, you can go grab that. I don't particularly like it, but it should be a damage gain. It's up to you, really. And yeah, this is essentially it. Now, Smite, we just go for all the damage nodes. Here, you can, I will say you can drop this if you want. Drop this and get the crit multiplier to max. I still have it because my crit is not yet capped. And I don't really... Without the crit cap, I feel like this ends up helping more with clear and a bit more damage than the crit multi. But you should just swap this to crit multi later on if you want to have your Smite do a bit more damage. And if not, you can also leave it like this. It will also help you with the clear. Spreading Flames does a bit of damage, and the extra damage from Ignites is also good. And then hit damage. The usual, more or less the same usual Smite. Okay, shield throw. I would say go Siege Breaker and Molten Shield and Lava Burst in this order. You should be able to have the points for all of it. Then get the Frenzy, then get the Colossus, and then start pumping damage into Lava Burst. And afterwards, get more ricochets. It will be up to you. I can't remember exactly how I went about this. Yeah, I think I got the ricochets first, and then went for the Lava Burst more damage. Because early on, the more damage, you're gonna get way more damage out of the extra hits than from the more damage early on, because the more damage will likely just be overkill. And that's it, shield throw. Sigils, well, ideally later on, what you'll want to do is drop this. Currently we have this node because you need the 3% extra block chance from this. It gives us 3% per sigil. This way we get one more sigil, we get 3% more. Later on, when you can get enough block chance without this, I would say remove these, get 4 points here, 4 points there, and max this out. it will be the best way to go about it. Again, we'll have the endgame planner for this, so you can always check it there. Alright? So, on to passives. So don't mind me, listen to what I say, don't do what I do. Bit of a joke. So, currently, Forge Guard, you should have 5 points there, 5 points there. Grab 5 points there. Why not? You can shift some of these into the strength if you want to, if you feel like you need the extra strength for a bit more armor. I don't feel I need to, so... Here, these points are wrong. I kept them while leveling and I forgot to change them. So you should drop points from here, get that maxed out, and get the armor shred here. Then this is really important, because we want to get damage mitigation, overtime mitigation from armor per 2 attunement, since we will be having a lot of armor, because Sentinel. Here, strength and HP, very easy. Here we go for the damage, and here you just grab the really important Forge Guard Master's Might, so you can use Sigeons and Volcanus. Alright, Paladin. You'll probably want to start. You'll want to put points into Forge Guard to unlock Shield Throw, and then you'll probably want to go and prioritize getting 15 points so you can get Symbols of Hope. It's also pretty useful to get Raya's Strength early on, so I would suggest get 15 points, get Heaven's Bulwark, and grab that. The Ignite, these are mostly leftover points, because it's nice to have the fire penetration since we'll be applying a lot of ignites because of the relic we're using, so it's just free damage, but not a priority. Same thing with divine bolts. You should only have 1 point here left over from somewhere, so leave these for later. Unless early on these are good, leveling they are good. Later on, when we're going to the min-maxing part of the build where you want to go fully into crit and everything, this becomes something you get later on. It's not going to be doing as much damage as your hits. Why not? We prioritize grabbing increased critical strike chance, because currently we really need it. If you are able to get enough crit chance to almost cap crit without this, I would say prioritize getting Blade Master on Sentinel. If you don't, I would suggest you go and grab this. Like, get 10 points there and grab that, just so you can get the critical strike chance, and might as well get a couple more points in here if you really need the crit chance, because, well, they're getting 1% crit multiplier per point anyway, so a bit more damage is always nice. But yeah, if you go here, if you decide to go here because you don't have enough points for it, I will suggest you skip 5 points there so you can keep volatile reversal for movement. Just for that. We're not speccing into it, but it is nice to have for movement. And I think that covers everything on the passives. Oh? Yeah. Then again, you'll have the endgame planner. Like min-max planner. So feel free to mess around with the extra ignite chance and ignites and divine bolt while leveling. If you're using this as a leveling build, that is. Okay, so then gear. Obviously we are using a Volcanus. What you'll want attack speed, and you'll want crit multiplier, probably. But well, fire damage also works, even if it's not as good. I got all attributes, I'll be happy with that for now. It's fine. We killed Abbey with this setup, so that's why I'm showing you the gear. Here we have a Last Bear Solarum. Increased fire damage. We wanted increased fire damage, attunement, health, and health with the sealed Last Bear affix. As you can see, this is kind of meh. In comparison, our chest is completely busted. We have a T6 increased fire damage, T7 increased health. Of course, we'd love to have attunement instead of that Last Bear affix. That should be sealed, and we want flat health as well. Ideally, on the planner, I have this with a sealed this will be our primordial with the tier 8 increased health but that's gonna be probably quite annoying to get, especially due to how set crafting generally works. You can also opt in to instead seal if you find a T7 fire damage. You can opt in to seal that, because then it should be easier for you to get your last spare. While seal key and then slot in attunement, you just have lower max HP. So I would suggest I would use the T8, but mostly because of hardcore. The T8 increased health. Okay, here we have Logi's Hunter. We'll want spell crit on it, but currently this was what Nemesis gave me. I was happy with it. Here Sigeon's with just block chance helps us cap our block chance, has that amazing property of retaliation with shield throw every time you block. Well, chances to retaliate with shield throw. It's amazing with lava burst, it helps with the clear immensely and makes it do a lot of AoE damage. Here we use double phantom grips on rings because we need the flat crits to crit cap. We'd want attunement and block chance. The reason you can also go for fire damage, the reason I go for attunement is because we do have that node that for each point of attunement, for each 2 points of attunement, we get 1% armor. The armor applies to dot reduction. So it's a defensive and offensive stat at the same time. That's why I prefer that. Also, yeah, that's it. And we want the block chance because we'll need it to get block cap. You probably only need T5s, so you'd want T7 attunement and T5 block chance. That would be great. Here gloves. Again, last pair. Ideally, we'd want 30% attack speed, 8 attunement. Again, you could go for the crit chance as well. I just prefer the attunement because, again, same. I've already explained it. Hybrid health and increased health regen. You want that sealed. That increased health regen from the last pair because you want to get block chance, so you can get rid of that last sigil on Symbols of Hope. Ideal, you can also opt to, instead of having T7 attack speed, go for T5 attack speed and get T7 hybrid health. Again, it will depend on how lucky you are and how or not, because we already have T7 attack speed along with the passive that we'll have later that will give us 30% more attack speed. It should be fine even if you go T5 attack speed on the Literal Gauntlets. Just get some... Because of set crafting and the nature of set crafting, we got this, I just kept it. Shoes, we go Fiery Dragon Shoes. This essentially crit caps us because we do have that other passive that gives spell damage with shield and with 5 points 30% crit reduction. So you get effectively crit cap by using these. They have fire damage, they have fire penetration with ignite. They're just nice to have. Here we opted for Soulfire so we can get more spell damage. 10% more spell damage to enemies. We also get a whole bunch of ignite chance. I didn't really see anything that drew me in as much as this, so I ended up using this. There might be something better. This is what we're using. And here we're using Brewmaster's Buckle because it helps us get to Endurance Cap. We also get more a decent amount of HP, a decent amount of armor out of it. And it's fairly easy to get to 3 LP. Ideally, you want the cleanse, hybrid health, T7, but it's a nightmare to get T7 hybrid health, so whatever T7 health you have and cleanse, it's good. Same thing here, you'd want health on that as well. Again, endgame planner in the description, you can see what I would go for, and then you can take care. If you want to change a couple of things, shift more of the defense into damage, you could do that. It really depends on if you're playing hardcore or softcore. On hardcore, more safety is always better. Anywho, I think I covered everything. Oh right, I didn't explain. Logi's Hunters, we get it because fire crit chance. It just helps us crit cap, and we also get a whole bunch of leech. This character has like 14% leech. So you end up, unless you get killed instantly, you generally don't die. Just by sheer virtue of the stupid amount of leech you have. Anywho, moving on to idols. So, Idols, we want one of these. Ideally, you want it, well, as high rolled as possible. One at the very least, so you can get Smite on whenever, Smite to proc when you throw out your shield, which is good. And mostly because we want the shred. The armor shred is also pretty good. You can also use a Throne of Ambition. I always forget about the Throne of Ambition. Later on, if you can get crit cap with it, you can run a Throne of Ambition. I always forget about it. Don't be me. And the rest, you'll want as much crit as possible and whatever you can get for resist, really. I'm using these because of I need them for resist. If I wasn't, I'd probably be running another one of those. With crit chance and fire damage. And then you also want one of these with frailty, so you don't have to put points into the node with frailty. I think it's better to just have the idol. You can also go sacrifice points from somewhere if you want and grab that. Will give you 6%. Like the final point I have on Divine Bolt, you can drop that and put it here for the frailty and replace that idol. But this is just easier. And it's much more accessible because you can just plop one in whenever you can. But if you don't have one, it's a good option. Now, blessings. Now, here's the thing. Here, on the panel planner, we do have endurance. The reason I don't have endurance here is because we do have an endurance roll on our relic, because it was what happened, so I kept the armor. On the panel planner, there is an endurance blessing here. Here we go for resist. Here we go crit chance. If you have enough crit chance, go crit multiplier. Fairly straightforward. XP, yeah, doesn't matter. Here I went for lightning res because I needed them. If you manage to cap your lightning res some other way, you can pick whatever ward. Stun chance. Stun chance is not a bad idea. 200% stun chance, you'll end up stunning a couple of things here and there. So not a bad idea. Probably better than lightning res. And here you want the block chance. As high as possible. We won't need 8%, but we'll need at least 6. Well, looking at this. 6 or... again, you want it max so you can get a bit more block effectiveness anyway. So, is what it is. And I guess that is it. Okay, now, when it comes to leveling, I've been trying to keep this so I can do this little bit of excerpt. I didn't level this with... I leveled this with some gear already. As you can see, we had like a Polaris. Early on I ran a Polaris, then I was running Halvar as well because more spell damage. At that point we don't really have any fire spec yet, so it's just free damage. And the last bear, ever since early on, if you can do this, a reforged last bear and reforged Halvar should take you most of the way, all the way through the campaign and into the monolith. And as you can see, some of the items I've used while leveling, try to get that fire damage, try to get that health and armor, everything last bear. Use your idle slots to cap out your resists if you need them. Elemental, I probably just broke the rings. No, I started using these early on to get the crit chance. Again, these are idols that I kept here if I could fit them in. These are items that I kept because, well, maybe I could use them. This winged one, what? No, this is probably wrong there. This is the one. Increase health. If you don't have a good helmet of this works. As long as it has a D7 health, then you could add there we could add the fire damage, try to reroll that physical resist to see if we could get HP, and it would work temporarily until you could find a good one of these. It does have the increased fire damage, so it's good. You can also opt in to use a Leonine if you have a good one. It's not mandatory to use this, I just prefer it because of the increased fire damage. But using a Leon, and because you don't need the crit reduction from Leonine. The armor, there's still an argument to use Leonine instead of that, just because of that extra 200 armor. I don't really think it's needed. Again, these are more items I kept around. Maybe this is an imprint. And again, rare items that you can try and craft into something useful. This relic lasted us a long time as well. I probably put that cold res at some point, probably during Act 4 or something, or either this one I kept because it's a good item for another build. Again, last bear. Again, leveling this I used last bear for the most part. There's a multitude of ways you can go about it. You can focus with a Polaris, focus on the spell damage. If you don't have a Polaris, you can use a sword, focus more on ignite and bleeds. Because you can abuse this node, for example, and even run melee multi-strike instead of smite multi-strike if you want. If you have any troubles leveling it, I would say just ask me. Just drop by the stream, leave the comments, ask how I am having this problem, how did you manage to solve it? Because it's very difficult for me to tell you a good, proper way to level it by just because I didn't run the build with full rares like I used to. I just used last bear and halvar, and that carried me through most of the game, along with the Polaris. Like Polaris and then Sigeon, grabbed the normal Sigeon at 35 with the bit of block chance I was already helping clear because of the automated shield throws. Because at 35 already had its spect. So yeah, just some thoughts, but it's again fairly difficult for me to tell you, oh, use these items, because there's a multitude of options that you can do. You can use invokers, for example, and go more in towards smite and use a wand while leveling instead of using multi-strike directly to proc smite. You can also use a wand to proc smite. Like, you don't need to use a melee weapon. The reason why I prefer melee weapons is because they have attack speed. You can also use a scepter. You can get attack speed on a scepter and just use that. It works. Or a fire starter. And multitude of ways. If you don't have, imagine you have all rare gear, fine, just get a random scepter, try to get attack speed on it, put some ignite chance and fire damage, and you're good. You should be good to take this all the way to monolith. And armors with resist and HP. Try to get the increased fire damage, increased ignite duration is really good. So you should look for that even early on, because a single level 1 affix of this already gives you like 20 to 30% increased fire damage. So it's really good if you can get it at low level, which you probably won't. So it's not as easy to start with this. Either way, it will still work. If you can't get that, just get attunement. Perfectly fine. Well, I guess that's that. Thanks for dropping by. I will watch you. I'll see you guys on the next one, and afterwards we'll have the Abbey kill with this. As you will see, it was a tiny bit long because, well, the build is far from being optimized at this point. We don't even have our crit chance completely sorted. Like 41% crit chance. Smite has a bit more because Smite doesn't even have a bit more. But yeah, is what it is. So guys, I will see you on the next one, and bye bye. Enjoy the Abbey. It is time. Will we kill it or will we get killed? Who knows? I think we might be able to kill it.
The altar of oblivion.
Might.
So you finally return to me, and with a guest. But first, prove yourselves worthy.
Aberroth! Face us yourself!
Do 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 do.
Welcomed you. You fight for nothing. The void hungers. Weak and worthless.
Do 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 do.
Weak and worthless.
Yeah, damage is kind of bad.
You fight for nothing.
Do 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 do
Void hungers.
do do do.
Weak and worthless. Embrace oblivion. Gods tore our world apart. They deserve their fate. The void hungers.
Do 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 do
Weak and worthless. The void comes. We treated the world no better.
Oh, come on. That was the worst spot you could stand in. Got hit once. Might be a problem.
This is his answer. You fight for nothing. The void comes. You fight for nothing. Hope will not save you. Weak and worthless.
Just because of the leech. We survived it. Just because of the stupid amount of leech we have. And I guess it can do it. GG.